came back into the market in a very big way.
What we know now is Wall Street can bring down Main Street.
People are seeing this, and those memories of fear are coming back.
When you have a 401k or a 403b, those kinds of accounts, they are incredibly susceptible to downturns.
The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped more than 900 points. More than 900 points.
There are questions about how to best save for retirement.
Part of the problem is confusion.
Time keeps on slipping into the future.
The first rule in investment is don't lose. And the second rule in investment is don't forget the first rule. And that's all the rules there are.
When the market goes up, you go up. When the market goes down, you don't go down. Save Money Radio, your money safe and sound.
Welcome to Safe Money Radio with your host, Brad Pistole. Brad is a retirement and income specialist, primarily serving Springfield, but he's sought after nationally for his expertise in helping people secure their retirements. Mr. Pistole is a licensed life insurance professional in the states of Missouri, Arkansas, and Kansas, and he specializes in working with people who are near retirement and those who have already retired with wealth management, income planning, and asset protection strategies.
Save Money Radio, your money safe and sound.
And now, here to talk with you about securing your retirement, your host, Brad Pistole.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again for Safe Money Radio. As you know, if you've listened for very long, we've been on the air for 14 years here in the Ozarks. It's the longest-running financial planning show in this four-state area, and we're grateful to have a special guest with us today. As you know, we often have guests on, but today I kind of feel like I have to read from this list because our guest, he's done a lot of incredible things. So we have Dr. Wade Pfau with us today, who's worked with the American College of Financial Services for about the past decade. He's been the professor of retirement income. He has worked with as the program director for the Retirement Income Certified Professional Program that both myself and Hunter have completed. He's currently a professor of practice. But in addition to this, he is the founder of Retirement Researcher. He's the founder of RISA LLC, the Retirement Income Style Awareness that we're going to talk about a lot on today's show. And he is also a principal and director of retirement research for McLean Asset Management Corporation. That is a mouthful. Dr. Wade Pfau, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on the show, and thank you for earning your RICP designation as well. It really shows that it's important for financial advisors to learn there's a lot more to retirement than just simply building an investment portfolio.
Well, I can tell you this, Hunter and I, having been through it, you know, you think that you know everything when you're in the practice of making sure that you have everything in order, all your ducks in a row for clients. And I've worked with Ed Slott since 2010, and I've done my certified annuity specialist, certified financial fiduciary, and then we jump into the RICP, and you're like, wow, this is 18 different core areas regarding financial planning, and there's definitely a lot of things that you don't know. Like my good friend Ed Slott will say, you don't know what you don't know until you learn that. So we're so grateful to you. The program is so phenomenal. I've talked about it a lot on the show, and thank you so much for working with that program. And we sat through a lot of classes with you teaching and a lot of other key people, and it certainly has been an incredible blessing to our business to have gone through that.
Great. Thank you.
Yes. Well, listen, today on the show, if you've listened, I know you might be watching on YouTube, you might be listening to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube, but we are going to go into 5 or 6 different key areas of financial planning, different topics regarding the safety of your principal, guaranteed lifetime income, what type of risk versus safety you should have in your portfolio, what type of percentages. We're going to go through all kinds of stuff. But what I want you to do, as you often do, write down this number. You can always call us anytime at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. And you can always request a free financial consultation with us. I'll give you a copy of my book, Bulletproof, The Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan, with foreword by America's IRA expert, Ed Slott. Just call us anytime, request a consultation. We'll get together and we'll get you moving in the right direction, making sure you've got the right level of risk versus safety versus income in your portfolio. So we're going to take a quick break because we have a lot planned for the rest of the show with Dr. Pfau. So call us anytime, 866-780-7233. There's someone standing by right now to take your call. This is Brad Pistole, your host of Safe Money Radio. I'll be right back after this informative message.
Are you age 59 and a half or older and still working? Did you know that you may be able to move some or all of your retirement money to an individual retirement account without any taxes? Why keep your money in your employer's plan with management fees, exposure to significant market risk, and limited options for guaranteed lifetime income that you can't outlive? What will happen to your plan at work if the market crashes? Call Brad Pistole now for retirement planning that will protect what you've worked so hard for and create a retirement that is safe and secure. Call 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233.
Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed.
As such, it's my duty, and I'll let you in on a little secret. It's also my pleasure to see to it that decent, hard-working people in this community aren't robbed blind by a pack of money-mad pirates.
You're listening to Safe Money Radio.
In the name of democracy, let us all unite!
Do you realize that even a minor recurring fee of 2% in your portfolio can cost you up to 1/3 of your retirement savings? If you're now paying a 2% fee, that can add up to 33% of your retirement savings lost to broker or management fees over about 30 years. Think about it. 33 cents of every dollar you've saved will be lost before you even enter into retirement. And it doesn't end there. That same 2% fee can cost you another 33% while you're in your retirement. So ask yourself, just whose retirement am I saving for? Stop financing someone else's retirement. Pick up the phone and call us now at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. Now back to more Safe Money Radio with your host, Brad Pistole.
Thank you for tuning in to Safe Money Radio. I am Brad Pistole, a market risk mitigation specialist helping clients with retirement money preservation and income planning. All right, friends, if you're listening with us today or if you're watching online, we have Dr. Wade Pfau from the American College of Financial Services and many other things. He is the author of 3 books, and we're going to talk about one of those today. He's the author of the Retirement Researcher's Guide series, and here are his books: Safety First Retirement Planning, an integrated approach for a worry-free retirement. We're going to talk about that book today. The Retirement Planning Guidebook, Navigating the Important Decisions for Retirement Success. And also the 3rd edition to a book that I just received personally Friday, Reverse Mortgages, How to Use Reverse Mortgages to Secure Your Retirement. And we're going to have these up at the end of the show. In case you're watching today, we're going to put all of Dr. Pfau's books on the podcast here. You'll be able to see them. And so, Wade, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to jump into some stuff, but thank you so much.
Absolutely. It's great to be here.
All right, so we're going to jump right in. You know, a lot of times in retirement planning, there's so many different advisors, as you know, and they wear lots of different hats. They may really focus in on one area. They may focus on a lot of different areas, but there's been a lot of discussion over a long period of time about the 4% withdrawal rule. I know you know this very well. You've talked about it a lot, but talk about, for our listeners, what is the 4% withdrawal rule when it comes to retirement income planning, and why is it that your research suggests maybe it's not all it's cracked up to be? Talk to us about that a little bit.
Sure. And so my focus is trying to just understand the different approaches to retirement and recognizing that different approaches can be viable when used by the appropriate person who's comfortable with the assumptions. The 4% rule is really just the investment world's approach towards let's extend investing pre-retirement to post-retirement. And it was just based on looking at historical data. The idea is if you looked at historical market returns, you could have always taken out 4% of what you had saved at the beginning of a retirement. And then that gave you a baseline level of spending that you could adjust for inflation in subsequent years. And that would have always worked for at least 30 years in the historical data if you use a stock allocation of 50 to 75% in retirement, which, just to note, that is pretty aggressive for what we usually think about as retirement stock allocations. But it was just using the same sort of pre-retirement investing approach and trying to see how that could apply post-retirement with taking distributions from assets.
Very good. Well, and with that being said, and you were talking about a percentage that was a little too aggressive, I know that a lot of advisors, they just kind of believe in being all in, that the 4% rule is going to work itself out. So even if someone hits the milestone age of 60 or 65 or even 70, they just leave everything 100% in. And a lot of clients don't know any different. They're trusting that advisor. So why is it possible that the 4% rule doesn't work when you reach a certain age? Maybe there's some time frames where you ought to adjust that and incorporate a little bit more safety and guarantee into it. And also in regard to that, because I know you know this very well, you're very holistic in what you teach with stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, all types of protections, and risk is a big part of a successful financial plan. But there's so much research today that says you shouldn't just be 100% in and never look back. So talk about that a little bit, if you will.
Yeah. So pre-retirement, when people are saving and accumulating, there is the idea of stocks for the long run, that if you hold on to stocks for long enough, they should outperform bonds, and you should be able to get a higher return over time holding a portfolio of stocks than holding a portfolio of bonds. Right. Now, post-retirement, that idea can still exist, but it changes a bit, because when you're spending from the portfolio, it changes the math around what the long run means. If I sell from a portfolio and then there's a market downturn and a subsequent market recovery, well, pre-retirement, I just hold through that, and in the long run, I'll be okay. But post-retirement, if I'm selling in a market downturn, there's less of my portfolio remaining to benefit from the subsequent market recovery. Right. And so that can really dig a hole for a retiree if there's a market downturn early on, that even though the markets ultimately may recover, the retiree's portfolio may not recover. And that's where risk changes in retirement. And a big part of that is, it's called sequence of returns. The order of the market returns matters when you're spending from the portfolio, in a way that the order of returns doesn't matter if I just invest money and leave it alone and let it grow over time. But when I'm spending from the portfolio, the order of returns does matter, and that amplifies the impacts of investment volatility on a retiree. So it's not that the market behaves differently or anything, but the impact of market volatility is different when I'm spending from a portfolio in retirement.
Very, very good. And I want to talk more about that when we come back from the break. We're going to jump into that. So if you're listening right now, you can always call into our show anytime, 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. When you call in, you can either request a copy of either of my books, Safe Money Matters or Bulletproof, The Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan. You can also request a free financial consultation, and we'll sit down and specifically talk about some of the things that Wade's been talking about on the show today. What is the appropriate level of risk in your situation based on your age and all the economic factors that are there for your specific situation? So just call in anytime, 866-780-7233. We'll be glad to help. There's always someone standing by to take your call. Since I have to take a break, now would be a great time to call me for a complimentary copy of my best-selling book, Bulletproof, The Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan. And I'll also give you a copy of my Safe Money Kit. My number is 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. Isn't it time to stop exposing your retirement to market risk? You're listening to Safe Money Radio with Brad Pistole.
When was the last time you did a beneficiary review on your life insurance and annuity policies? Did you know that many non-qualified joint annuities have incorrect beneficiary designations that completely bypass the joint annuitant from receiving death benefits? Another major mistake made on beneficiary designations can cause your death benefit to be subject to estate taxes or probate. This is something you cannot fix once you die, which is why you should call us now for a complimentary review of all life and annuity beneficiary designations. Your loved ones depend on this money. Let's make sure your money goes where it's intended. Our phone number is 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233.
A gift came from Grandma today.
What a ripoff! It's a check for nothing. Well, I've given this a lot of thought, and I've decided that I want my own house, my rules, my money.
It's Safe Money Radio. Do you think the market is going up or going down? Or is that even the right question to be asking? Here's a better question. When the market goes up, do you get to lock in your gains? What if you never had to worry about the market going up or down? Here's another question. Do you have a plan to never outlive your retirement money? What if the market crashes when you need to start using your money for retirement? Taking withdrawals from your retirement account can have devastating consequences due to sequential rate of return risk. If you don't know what that is, you should call us to find out. Brad's best-selling book, Bulletproof, The Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan, and his Safe Money Kit can show you how to limit market risk and guarantee a lifetime of income. So pick up the phone and call us now at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. You're listening to Safe Money Radio with your host, Brad Pistol.
Welcome back to Safe Money Radio. I'm Brad Pistol, a certified financial fiduciary and a safe money retirement specialist. All right, now we have with us today special guest Dr. Wade Pfau, and before the break we were talking a lot about risk and stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, kind of how you determine what to put in the pot for the right mixture for your retirement. And I want to talk about this, Wade. You know, in your research, I know that you've said that about 1/3 of the population actually falls into the category that would be comfortable with 100% risk, just all stocks. That means that 2/3 of the people aren't comfortable with that and maybe shouldn't be in that type of realm of investing. So I know you and your team have come up with something pretty spectacular, and we're excited to talk about it on the show. We're going to talk about the RISA today, what that is, what it means, how it impacts clients. So tell us about the retirement income style awareness, how it got started. I know it's a kind of a loaded question, but what does it do for clients, and why is it important for someone to walk through something like this with their advisor?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So the retirement income style awareness is a questionnaire I developed with Alex Mergia, a colleague of mine, and we ended up creating a company around it. But the idea is, as I've been the RICP program director, and really I need to be agnostic about retirement strategies, but then the question always comes up as, well, when should a particular individual use a particular retirement strategy? Or when is something like the 4% rule appropriate? When is it not appropriate? And so in looking at that, we really tried to understand what are the types of trade-offs that people face where they have to make some sort of decision. And then we identified, at one point we had 8 or 9 different potential factors, but then in creating questions around that and in doing these questionnaires and analyzing the results, we found that there's really 2 important factors that ultimately can translate into a retirement style. And that's where that 1/3 of the population thinking about retirement may resonate with that sort of investments-based approach where you rely on the investments for everything and you don't have any sort of protections. But that's the default explained in Kiplinger or other types of consumer media. 2/3 of the population want some sort of safety or contractual protection that goes beyond what an investment-based strategy can provide on its own. And that's where there's 4 different retirement styles. Total return is what we name that investments only type of an approach.
Okay.
But then you have bucketing approaches, you have what we call income protection, and then also what we call risk wrap as different ways to think about, do I want some sort of protections behind my core spending in retirement, or am I comfortable exposing it all to the market? And so different people will have different preferences and attitudes around these points, and that speaks to having a different approach to building the retirement strategy based on what someone identifies as their own preferences for retirement.
Perfect. And how long, I mean, you probably worked on this for years. I know that it's just now becoming available to certain advisors to use it and for people in the public to use it. But how many years did you work on this, putting this together?
Well, to some extent, I would say like 12 years. I've been talking about the idea that there's 2 different schools of thought for retirement, and that's evolved now into the retirement styles. But in terms of specifically thinking about the RISA as a concept, it's been 3 to 4 years at this point. I remember back early 2019 when we started writing questions, and at one point we had 900 different questions we were looking at.
Wow.
We've narrowed it down quite a bit since then. But
yeah,
in terms of that actual concept, it's been at least 3 or 4 years that we've been working on it.
Well, for those of you who are listening or watching right now, the RISA is truly an amazing tool. Hunter and I found out about this quite some time ago, and we actually have already taken it personally. I actually have my profile and my sheets right here with me, and I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit. It was interesting to see where I fell into this. We also had our office manager take it, and we've jumped in all on board. We want to provide this to our clients. So if you're listening right now, this is really an exciting time. Those of you who've listened for years know that I offer my books to you, and I've given out Ed's books, Tom Hegna's books. I have Wade's books here with me, and we're going to show those at the end of the show. We're going to talk about safety first retirement planning after the next break. But we're excited to bring to you, to the consumers, to those listening, the opportunity to take the RISA. This is just such a beautiful thing, the Retirement Income Style Awareness Survey, if you will, to go through and find out what your specific level of risk versus safety versus being all in into the market. What is that? What should it be in your situation? And so for those of you who would like to take it, obviously there would be a cost to it if you went online and did it yourself. We are providing this for our clients. And if you come in and meet with us, we will offer a free consultation. We will allow you to take the RISA. We will give you the results of that and go into specific detail about what that would look like in your retirement plan. What type of accounts and products, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, what should you have in your portfolio? We are holistic planners here. I offer the safety side to our clients. Hunter deals with the risk side, and we will come up together with a plan, whether that involves taxes, Social Security, income, returns, all of that. That's what we do here. So call us anytime at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. Just request a free financial consultation, and we will give you access to the RISA and find out what would work best in your situation. Again, that number is 866-780-7233, and there's someone standing by right now to take your call. Since I have to take a break, now would be a great time to call me for a complimentary copy of my best-selling book, Bulletproof, The Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan. And I'll also give you a copy of my Safe Money Kit. My number is 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. Isn't it time to stop exposing your retirement to market risk? You're listening to Safe Money Radio with Brad Pistole.
If you were born between 1946 and 1964, you are part of an unprecedented generation of 76 million Americans known as the baby boomers. Have you taken steps to secure your retirement future with options to limit the loss of your principal retirement funds from market risk while utilizing key tax advantages? Why not ease the burden of transfer of funds to your heirs and insulate your money from the shocks of an increasingly volatile world economy? Give yourself and your family peace of mind and certainty that your retirement funds may have the opportunity to accumulate without the risk of market loss. So call us now at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. It's time to start being safe.
Money, money, money.
All right. And you teach me about money then, Mr. Nassima.
Firstly, money can increase or decrease in value. Secondly, money is risky, but at a given moment one has some idea of its worth. Thirdly, money can buy you many things: comfort, luxury, relief from pain, sometimes even life itself. And now you listen to me. And you listen very carefully. Next to the speed of light, which Einstein says is the only absolute in the universe, second only to that, I rank money.
You're listening to Safe Money Radio.
You mean money is the whole thing?
Money is the whole thing.
Have you recently changed jobs and now you have a 401k or another retirement account you don't want to expose to the risk of market loss? You've worked too hard to leave your retirement to chance. Since you'll probably start another retirement account at your new job, why not ensure your old account provides you principal protection, the opportunity to participate in the market with locked-in accumulation, and a guaranteed lifetime income? We can help you roll over the retirement account from your previous employer and identify products that provide the potential of index-linked credited interest while limiting market risk. Did you know that if you're age 59 and a half, you may be able to use money out of your employer's plan even if you're still working there? Call us now and ask about bonus options on your retirement money with a fixed indexed annuity. Imagine putting your money on an elevator that only goes up. It might stop on a few floors on the way up when the market index goes down, but you won't go back to visit the lower floors. Our phone number is 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. You can get your complimentary copy of Brad's best-selling book, Bulletproof: The Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan, by calling us now. That number is 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. You're listening to Safe Money Radio with your host, Brad Pistol.
Thank you for tuning in to Safe Money Radio. I am Brad Pistol, a market risk mitigation specialist helping clients with retirement money preservation and income planning. Now, before the break, we were talking about the RISA program that Dr. Pfau and his friends have come up with, and I want to deviate just a minute because we're going to come back to the RISA, but let's talk about this. I know you've worked with the American College for about 10 years. It's like a month shy of being 10 years, right? And you worked with the Retirement Income Certified Professional Program. You've done all kinds of things with Retirement Researcher. And I'm going to put this up on the screen just for a minute. I know our listeners can't see this, but Safety First Retirement Planning, an integrated approach for a worry-free retirement. What an incredible book. It's like a Bible. We use it a lot. So tell us about Safety First Retirement Planning. Why would you even come up with the title of something like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is one of the general approaches to retirement. I talked about the two different schools of thought. So safety first is what I named one of those schools of thought. That book did come out before the RISA concept was developed. So
yes, it did.
It's explaining how those styles actually work and how the math works for that. And the basic idea is there's three general ways you could fund a retirement spending goal. The first is you simply use bonds, which is not the most effective approach. And you have two alternatives then to how could I spend more than with bonds?
Yeah.
With the investment-based approach, it's, well, let's rely on the stock market to provide a higher return to allow us to spend more than bonds. And with safety first, the idea is let's pool the risk through insurance so that we know that if we end up living a long time, we'll have this source of spending that has contractual protections behind it that will allow us to spend a lot more than in bonds. And so safety first retirement planning is about explaining how the math really is in favor of that risk pooling approach. is quite competitive with anything that the stock market might be able to do, so that people do have options. It's not that they're giving up anything by using a safety first approach, but with safety first, they're building a floor of protected lifetime income to cover their core spending needs and to use the power of risk pooling to do that. And then on top of that, then they can invest as well for more discretionary types of goals. And it improves long-term financial outcomes. So it is a very viable and mathematically even better, but I'm willing to step away from that and say it's a very viable approach for people who want that sort of contractual protection, comfort, and safety for building their retirement strategy, and to know that they're not giving up the like this idea of, well, if I put more money in the stock market, I would have been better off. No, what the safety first approach can do is competitive with anything that an investments only type approach would be able to do for retirement.
That's so good. And of course, I know I believe in the flooring approach. When we went through the Retirement Income Certified Professional Program, your 3 key ways for planning, I fall in line most with the flooring approach, because I believe, as a lot of my mentors have taught, you have got to take care of your basic immediate needs with something that's guaranteed. And the only things that are guaranteed: pensions, Social Security, and annuities. There are 3 things that are guaranteed. So I love to set the floor for our clients and know milk, bread, movies, golf, whatever it is that you're going to do in retirement, those basic needs, the mortgage, whatever, it's got to be covered by the guaranteed part. Then you can swing for the fences on the other things and reach out for higher returns to combat inflation. And yes, that's okay to do as long as you've taken care of that flooring approach. Now, some people have different opinion with that, and that's okay, but that's certainly the boat that we fall into here. So we've loved Safety First Planning, Retirement Planning, and also the Retirement Planning Guidebook. What a great, great book for clients. So if you're listening right now and you'd like to read one of Dr. Pfau's books, if you'd like to read my book, Bulletproof, The Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan, just call us anytime, 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. We want to put great information in the hands of consumers to make sure they know all ends of the spectrum. So much of the time we're only taught one thing. A lot of times, especially in years past, even mention the word annuity or contractual guarantee, and people are like, what's that? No one's even talked to me about that. So we want to make sure that you know about all options that are there, and just like Wade said, that you're not losing out on something because you use an approach. It's actually giving you a more holistic approach to everything, to have a little bit of everything in your portfolio. So call us anytime at 866-780-7233. Just request a free financial consultation with us, and we will give you a copy of any of the books that we've mentioned on today's show, absolutely free. There is someone standing by right now to take your call, and we'll be back right after this break. This is Brad Pistole, your host of Safe Money Radio. I'll be right back after this informative message.
Did you know that your Social Security could be much higher depending on what option you choose for claiming your benefit? Social Security income is not as simple as some think. When should you take it? Should you only take your spouse's benefit while you continue to work? Deciding how to receive your Social Security benefit can make your head spin. Don't decide about your retirement without the facts. Call us now and ask for your complimentary Social Security guide at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233.
Yeah, what can I do for you, Rod? You just tell me, what can I do for you?
It's a very personal, very important thing. Hell, it's a family motto. Are you ready, Jerry?
I'm ready.
Just want to make sure you're ready, brother. Here it is. Show me the money.
I gotta call Jerry. Does that make you feel good just to say that? Say it with me one time, Jerry.
Show you the money.
Oh, no, you can do better than that, Jerry. I want you to say it with meaning, brother. Hey, I got Bob Sugar on the other line. I better hear you say it.
Yeah, no. Show you the money.
Not show you. Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Yeah. Louder.
Show me the money.
That's it, brother. I need to feel you, Jerry.
Show me the money.
Jerry, you better yell. Show me the money.
You're listening to Safe Money Radio.
Show me the money.
Now back to more Safe Money Radio with your host, Brad Pistol.
Thank you for tuning in to Safe Money Radio. I am Brad Pistol, a market risk mitigation specialist helping clients with retirement money preservation and income planning. Okay, friends, before the break, we were talking with Dr. Wade Pfau from the American College and from the RISA program about this exciting new tool he and his team have come up with and made available to financial professionals and to consumers. And here's what I think, and I may be wrong on this, Wade, but this is the way it hit me and Hunter as we were so excited to see it. What it really does is it takes the financial professional out of the way. It takes them out of the way when the consumer takes this, and it will just show them, because a disinterested third party is saying, take this survey, or would you call it a survey, Wade? What would you call it?
Yeah, survey or questionnaire.
Yeah, they take the questionnaire, and instead of an advisor cherry picking or already knowing what he's going to tell someone to do, which is not something they should do, it gathers the information and then it puts them into a quadrant and lets them know exactly where they fall. So again, to kind of remind those that may have missed in the earlier part of the show, tell us a little bit more about the RISA and what it is that it does. If a client were to take this, what does it do for them?
Mm-hmm. And thank you so much for having the faith in using the RISA. It's you're very much an early adopter at this stage, because it's an idea that we're really just starting to get out there. But for a long time, I've really viewed this idea of advisors who are comfortable integrating different approaches are going to be best positioned to serve their clients. And so much of financial services is siloed. The RISA, it's about 4 different retirement styles, finding the approach that's appropriate for each individual person. So many financial professionals just try to argue that one style is somehow superior to the rest. Right. And so everyone should use the one particular style they have in mind. Different people have a different style in that regard. But I do think that any of these styles can be made to work. And if it's used by the wrong person, it's not going to work. The person who created the 4% rule, actually, he talked about how you should never be less than 50% stocks. And then he panicked during 2022 and was down to a 20% stock allocation, really violating the ability for that strategy to work for him. And that's the idea. If you're in a strategy or if you're using a style that's not right for you and you don't stick with it through thick and thin, then it's not going to work. And so being able to start off, find the strategy that resonates, that you're comfortable with, that's an important starting point for building the retirement strategy. And the RISA is not telling, there's not any one preferred style there. They're all 4 of those styles are viable. And so it's letting the individual answer these questions in a manner that identifies, how do you view your retirement strategy? And how, you may not even know what all's involved, but here you're able to speak to what kind of preferences do you have? And then that gives a starting point of, okay, as a starting point for the conversation, it looks like this style might work best for you. Let's start to talk about that. But then knowing that only financial professionals who are comfortable talking about there are different ways to approach this.
Right.
They're the only ones who are going to be comfortable giving the RISA, because otherwise it's going to be offering 4 different styles when they may only be able to offer one style to their clients. So right. I'm so excited to see this. More and more financial advisors are able to look beyond just having one particular style as part of their practice. And there may still be a preferred style, but at least recognizing, okay, no, if we can offer more than one approach, or if we at least know who's going to be a better client for us to work with, that's possible now by aligning that with the results from the RISA.
That's so good. And those of you listening, you know I'm a safety guy. Safe Money Radio for a reason, okay? I own 6 annuities, and we're going to talk about that in the last segment. But I also have a 401k and a lot of money in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. I'm not just all in one area, and I believe it's not a complete plan if you are all heavy-handed in just in one area. So what I love about the RISA and why Hunter and I have jumped on board and we're using it personally, we're using it with our clients. We're going to offer it to any of you who are listening, who want to come in and take this free of charge, because it will show you exactly where you need to be. Wade, I'm sure you're very familiar with examples that advisors have given and that you know of personally where someone may say, oh yeah, I'm completely comfortable with risk. And then you maybe put them through something like this, and then the survey may reveal the exact opposite, that there may be more 70% safety oriented versus 30% risk. So this really helps an individual or a couple, a family, go through this and find out exactly where they need to be. So in our next segment, we're going to talk about the 4 quadrants and what a person may find out when they take the RISA. And so if you're listening right now and you're like, what is the RISA, the Retirement Income Style Awareness Survey? How can I take that? Just give us a call, 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. We are so excited to be able to offer this to our clients free of charge. You can come meet with us for a free financial consultation. We will allow you to take the survey. We will provide and generate the report for you. And then it's going to go into incredible detail about what you might consider doing in your specific situation based on what quadrant you fall into. So we'll be talking more about that in weeks to come. But if you'd like to take this survey, or if you'd like a copy of our safety information regarding our Safe Money Kit, my Safe Money Matters book, or Bulletproof, the Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan, just call us anytime at 866-780-7233. We'll be more than happy to give you a copy absolutely free. There is someone standing by right now to take your call, and we'll be right back after the break. Well, I must take a short break. This is Brad Pistole, and you're listening to Safe Money Radio. Let's pause for some exciting announcements.
Are you concerned about long-term care? You're also probably concerned about paying the high cost of long-term care coverage and increasing rates. Some long-term care rates have increased by as much as 40%. Thanks to recent changes made by Congress, you may be able to use non-qualified tax-deferred retirement money to pay for your long-term care tax-free. Some hybrid long-term care annuities or life insurance solutions can even double or triple your funds available for care. If you have non-critical health issues, you should still call us. Some insurance products have simplified underwriting, and a simple telephone interview will determine your qualification. Call us now if you want information on this opportunity to use tax-free money to pay for your long-term care. Our phone number is 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233.
Where's the money, Lebowski? You want that money, Lebowski? Bunny says you're good for it. Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the money, Lebowski?
It's down there somewhere. Let me take another look. You're listening to Safe Money Radio.
See what happens, Lebowski? See what happens?
Nobody calls me Lebowski. You got the wrong guy. I'm the dude, man.
Your name's Lebowski, Lebowski.
Do you own an annuity? Do you understand what it does, how it works, and if it's right for your retirement plan? Some annuities have fees that might not be justified by their benefits. Some annuities are exposed to significant market risk. Worse yet, if an annuity was sold without proper planning, it can cause unintended consequences for your retirement. If you own an annuity, it's probably a good idea to find out more about how it works and if it's right for you. It's time to give Brad Pistole a call now at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. Brad will help you review the features and benefits of annuities you currently own without any obligation. Once again, you can call Brad now at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. You're listening to Safe Money Radio with your host, Brad Pistole.
Welcome back to Safe Money Radio. I'm Brad Pistole, a certified financial fiduciary and a safe money retirement specialist. Well, friends, we've been so blessed to have Dr. Wade Pfau on the show with us today. He has worked with the American College of Financial Services for the past 10 years. He's a professor there. He's worked with and been the program director for the Retirement Income Certified Professional Program. He's written several different books that we're going to talk about and show at the end of the show today. But most importantly here recently, what we're excited about is his work with the RISA program. And, you know, Wade, I took this financial survey, if you will, to find out where I would fall. And I love it. You know, I have the copy of it here in my hand. Your retirement income style awareness overview. We congratulate you on taking the first step in discovering the retirement income plan that fits your style. And I love it that clients can go through and take this from a disinterested third party and find out exactly what might be best in their specific situation. No shocker here. Those that have listened to me for years know I own 6 annuities. I believe in a flooring approach, making sure all of your basic income needs are covered with something that's guaranteed, like Social Security, pensions, and annuities. And then after that, you know, swinging for the fences is okay. But I fell into the safety first versus probability quadrant, and it's neat to see all the different things that it says about that. You know, I prefer having a layer of protected income for my essential expenses with the remaining expenses funded from my investment portfolio. So talk about the different quadrants in the RISA and where someone might fall and what that means to the average consumer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the 4 different quadrants really addressed all the different ways people talk about retirement if you start to dig into what they're describing. And again, we're agnostic about it. We're not pigeonholing those who take the questionnaire into one particular strategy. It's really,
right.
You're going to answer these questions and see where you fit. Total return, it is that world where people are more comfortable just spending from an investment portfolio. They don't really feel that need for additional safety. They may feel that Social Security could be enough and then there's no need for anything beyond that. That's one of the options. You've got time segmentation. This is also known as a bucketing approach. And this is where it's still more from the investment side. There could be a role for annuities, but generally investments, just thinking about the investments differently, where my bonds might be earmarked in short-term buckets to cover my upcoming expenses, and then I would have stocks earmarked more towards longer-term buckets to cover the more distant expenses and to provide more opportunity for growth. Then you've got income protection, which I'm guessing from talking to you, that's probably where you fell as a quadrant.
Yes.
That's about building a protected floor of lifetime income to cover basic spending needs, and then investing on top of that for more discretionary types of goals. And generally looking at annuities are an important option there, but annuities that tend to provide higher worst case scenario guarantees, but maybe not as much upside potential built into the annuity. And then you have risk wrap, which is also a flooring approach, but speaks more to people who are more comfortable investing in the markets and even for their basic spending needs, but they want guardrails around that. So they want some sort of guarantee, but they might be willing to accept a lower guarantee in the worst case scenario to have more opportunities for growth and for higher guaranteed income throughout time as part of that investing strategy. So that would be a risk wrap strategy. I want to take the risk, but I want to wrap that risk as well and know that there's what the worst case scenario might look like and to have some sort of guardrail or floor around that.
Well, this may seem like an obvious question. We obviously love the RISA and we're so excited to offer it to our clients and the people that we work with for obvious reasons. But here's a question. Why would it be important for someone to take something like this versus not doing it if they didn't have that tool available to them?
The concern is always that whenever someone who advocates for a particular style is describing it, they'll make it sound great. And my worry is there's a certain randomness that goes on where someone might end up with a particular strategy based on just randomly that's what they heard about first. Right. And if it's not the right strategy for them, it's hard to stick to that, especially if it is that total return strategy that calls for being aggressively invested in the stock market throughout retirement. That can be tough to deal with and to handle during market volatility and during market downturns. And then if people just give up on the strategy at the worst possible time, then that's no longer a viable strategy. And I just worry that so many people tend to do that we have these reoccurring type financial situations several times since the year 2000. And if that causes stress and harm to a retiree and then they give up on that particular strategy, that's ultimately leading them down to the path to a worse retirement outcome. And if they could have just instead been in a strategy that they were more comfortable with from the beginning, they certainly would have had better financial planning outcomes and less stress and less worry for their retirement.
Boy, and that's certainly what we all want, right? The number one fear of any retiree is running out of money before they run out of life, and they don't want the worry, they don't want the stress. And so that's why we love the RISA that Dr. Pfau has created, because it keeps an advisor or financial professional from cherry picking something for someone when that's not in their best interest. You could take this survey and this questionnaire, and it will show actually where you fall, what category you fall into, and what would work best in your situation. And then they need to match the appropriate type of investments and accounts and options that are there to that situation for you specifically. And as a certified financial fiduciary and a retirement income certified professional, that is very, very important to me and to my team. So if you've listened today, you want to learn more about the RISA and about how you could take this financial survey and see what it would mean to your retirement, to find out what specific category you fall into and what steps you need to be taking, because we didn't even have time to get into that. When you get your copy of the survey, it's going to show the steps you need to be taking to make sure you're doing the right things based on the quadrant that you fall into. So if you would like to take the RISA, just give us a call at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. Request a free financial consultation, and when we get together and meet, we will allow you to take the survey. We will provide the results to you and give you the report. I'll also give you a copy of my book, Bulletproof, the Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan, and we will come up with the right strategy for your specific situation. Wade, thank you so much for joining us today. I wish we had more time. We'll have you back on again. But thank you. We're going to put information about his books on the screen. And for those of you who are listening, just call us anytime at 866-780-7233. We'll be glad to help. Wade, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely, and thank you.
You guys have a great day. Well, I'm about out of time, and I would like to thank you for listening to Safe Money Radio. If you're serious about your financial future, give me a call, and together we'll get your retirement savings on the fast track to accumulation while reducing exposure to market losses. Thanks for listening, and until next time at the same time, I'm Brad Pistole, reminding you to stay safe so you can step into a secure future.
Safe Money Radio, your money safe and sound.
You've been listening to Safe Money Radio with your host, Brad Pistole. Find out how to contractually guarantee that your hard-earned money is safe while avoiding market loss so you can have the retirement that you deserve. Call Brad Pistole now for your complimentary Safe Money book and Safe Money information kit at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233.
Safe Money Radio, your money safe and sound.
The preceding information does not represent tax, legal, or investment advice. Surrender charges apply to base annuity contracts. Optional lifetime income benefit riders are used to calculate lifetime payments only and are not available for cash surrender or in a death benefit unless specified in the annuity contract. Fees may apply. Annuity guarantees are based on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the insurance company. No information presented today should be acted upon without meeting with a qualified and licensed professional. Obviously, by calling us now, you're just taking the first step towards protecting your retirement. It is important that you read all insurance contract disclosures carefully before making a purchase decision. Rates and returns mentioned on this program may vary based on state availability and are subject to change without notice.